What's up, everybody? It's Daniel Schmore here with you, and today I just wanted to talk to you about the key exercises that I incorporate in deadlifts to increase my deadlift max. So the first thing I want to talk about is the most obvious thing that you can talk about when it comes to deadlifts. If you want to increase your deadlift, you're going to have to lift more weight. Now, when I talk about lifting more weight, I'm talking about either adding extra sets or progressing by adding more weight. Deadlifts is something that you don't necessarily need to do more than once a week. In fact, I believe that only deadlifting once a week is more beneficial than trying to do it 2 or 3 times a week, because there's so many muscles involved, it takes more time to recover. And if you try to deadlift heavy more than once a week, then you're just going to be counterproductive and it's actually going to decrease your deadlift. So the most obvious thing is, number one, is start to deadlift more weight or add in extra sets. Now the second thing is deficit deadlifts. Deficit deadlifts are really good at helping you develop your lower back and to help you just pull the bar back into a better position. Because when you're doing a deficit deadlift, you're having to reach down lower, so you're having to get into a better position than if you're just doing a conventional deadlift. So the second thing I want to talk about is RDLs. RDLs are a really good exercise, and this is one of the key accessories that I use for my deadlifts. And I like to do all of my RDLs without a belt. Only very rarely do I do the RDLs with a belt, and I usually incorporate those when I start to taper and get closer to a meet. When I drop down the reps to 2 or 3 on the deficit RDLs, I'll add the belt just to help prevent injury, and it just gives me a little more confidence when I'm really loading up the weight. But otherwise, I like to stay in the 5 or 6 rep range, and I do like to hit it with heavy weight, so I don't want to not go up high because I don't have a belt, but just be more conscious and be careful when you are doing those RDLs, especially at a deficit. And right here, this is what I use to do my deficit RDLs and my deficit deadlifts. It's just a 3/4 inch piece of plywood and a bunch of 2x4s, and I just made a platform, and this is what I use to do those deficits. And then the third thing that I want to talk about that you don't want to neglect is the mid and upper back. So the things that I recommend for that are weighted pull-ups, and you can do these anywhere from 5 to 10 reps. Anything less than that I don't think is as beneficial as going to say 5 or 6 or even 10 reps. You're probably going to have to stick with the 10 rep range in the beginning before you develop the strength to be able to really add the weight on to do around 5 or 6 reps. Then the other thing is bent rows. I like to do these a lot, and this is kind of like a dual purpose exercise because it's going to help the deadlift, but it's also going to help the bench press. So when I do the bent rows, I use 3 grip configurations. I use a double overhand always, and when I go with the heavy weight, I'll put on the straps. But I like to use a grip that's wider, that mimics the bench press, and then I'll do another set, maybe 1 to 2 inches closer, and then I'll do a third set that's all the way into a narrow grip or a closed grip. And another thing is good mornings. This also serves a dual purpose because it's good for the deadlift and the squat. So it's going to help you stay in a better position on the squat, and it's going to work the hamstrings and really work the lower back. And another thing that you don't want to neglect is the shrugs. So you want to be incorporating heavy shrugs. And another dual purpose you can use for the shrugs is to help increase the grip strength by doing a double overhand grip for as long as you can on the shrugs. When I'm doing that, I like to use light to moderate weight for 10 to 12 reps, because by the second or third set, my hands do start to get tired and my forearm starts to get tired, and it compromises the grip and the form when I'm doing double overhand. So when I do the real heavy shrugs, I'll use the overlapping grip, so 1 over, 1 under. So those are my key exercises that I incorporate into all of my deadlift workouts. So I hope that you can incorporate these into your workouts and to really help you increase your deadlift. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.